Welcome to the tilt, everybody. I don't know if I need lights on in here, but I'll get the light on in case it needs it. We have a fun conversation this morning. We've got a little covering mindset stuff, picking up on yesterday a little bit. We, of course, are going to see if the Cybertruck needs to take us for a swim. We have slightly different conditions today, same time of day. I was hoping the lighting would be the same, but we actually have rain. So we're going to see how the rain treats us. I'm getting the windshield wipers on, so we're going to try that. And then I'm going to introduce you to something called the permanent domains of human concern by a gentleman named Dr. Fernando Flores. So we're going to get into it. We're talking about mindset. One of the things that is talked about in about every religion out there is this idea that you should have your mind on higher things, have your mind on the good things of the world and not be distracted by the negative or low-minded things. And one of the things, kind of speaking to our conversation yesterday, is that when we build discipline, it's difficult and we have to get through that. But one of the ways to be able to navigate those difficulties is having your mindset on the positive, having your mindset on the things that are going to be the good outcomes. And for those of you with that God faith component, what you can notice is when you go through really difficult things, you can look for what God is doing good in your life and the life of others as a result of the difficulty that you're going through. Like, how is my difficulty a blessing somehow to somebody else? Now, I'm willing to argue, and feel free to put in the comments. Maybe you feel the same way I do. I think that is real and true, and God is walking with me in my daily life, and I work to draw closer to Him daily. But even if that's not true, is it better to go through life looking for the next negative thing that's going to occur? Or is it better to go through life looking for the next thing that's going to come into your world that's going to be amazing, or some growth that you're going to go through, or some way you're going to impact someone else's life? I opt that that's the better way to go. And it reminds me of the story of this little boy who they knew to be like overly positive all the time. And these researchers had kind of figured out how to ruin the mood of all these other kids in this study, but not this little boy. So they said, well, we've got it figured out. So they took him and they put him in a room and told him to wait in there. But this was a huge room and it just had piles and piles of horse crap. And they let him in there and they came back like 3 hours later. And this kid was covered head to toe in horse crap, and just his skin was just darkened by it, and all you could see was his big white teeth smiling. And they said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I just knew with this much horse poop in here, there's got to be a pony under here somewhere. And so that's the mindset that we can have, is there's joy even in looking for the good that's going to come of a bad situation or a hard situation or a difficult new discipline you're building. And if you focus on that good outcome, you can actually see those things. Those very same things can be there, but if you're not looking for it, if you don't put language to it, if you don't talk about it and experience those good things, it will be as if those good things never happened to you. So we're just a little ways out here from the boat dock where I'm going to see what I can do to get this thing to go into the water. I don't want it to go into the water, but I want to mimic the circumstances that happened yesterday when I chickened out and hit the brake. So while we're getting there, I'm going to introduce you to something called the permanent domains of human concern. Now, Dr. Fernando Flores wrote this 20 plus years ago, and it's this simple idea that you could have areas of your life that are really, really well cared for. Like maybe you're really great in your career, or you're really great on your personal fitness. But if something like your family and those closest familiar relationships and your kids don't want anything to do with you and your spouse doesn't like you and all that, well, that's probably not a good life. And his basic idea was, with these permanent domains of human concern, which I'm going to walk you through in a minute, is that if you can continue to have harmony among them, then you can have a really good life. And one way to work on that is both looking at these permanent domains of human concern, and we'll have Marla find a link for it and put it in the description of this episode. Or if she didn't get up there yet, comment below. It means she missed it in the edit, and she'll find it once your comment's in there. But with these, all you have to do is get them up to the standard that you want them to be at. All you need is an ambition for how good of fitness do you need to be in given what you want your life to look like. Or how close of a relationship do you need to have with all of your family. I have some extended family. I just kind of stay aware of what's going on in their world, but they're a bunch of drama, so I just care about them from a distance. But other parts of my family I want to be really close to. And having an ambition or an aim for each of these permanent domains of human concern puts you in a position that you can have a pretty good life. Often what blindsides people is an area of life that, say, never had a problem and never needed to be maintained, say their body, and then they have a health concern or something else. And that's when you'll start to see breakdowns happen across domains. And then one last thing that makes getting your permanent domains of human concern met and your aims met is by making sure you can address more than one concern with one activity in life. And I'll give you an example of that when I'm done going through the list. So the first one is body. And that's just taking care of the thing that's got to go with you everywhere you got to go. Both today, making sure you don't get hit by a car, and long into the future, making sure you're physically active and putting the proper fuel in. Second is family. We just talked about that one. Third is work. And so that's participating in earnings, spending, groups, or your relationship to wealth. The next is groups. That's community. So that's participation in groups, collective organizations, endeavors. Learning. So that's growth, curiosity, skill development. That was number 6. Number 7 is play. That's where you're just joy, recreation, non-obligatory creativity. And that might just be, hey, we're sitting around the fire in the evening and we're walking to the lake together. That can just be, doing things for play. Love, intimacy, affection, and the care for others. Number 9 is spirituality, connection to something larger than oneself, often purpose or faith. Number 10 is mood, your general emotional tone, disposition, and orientation toward life. 11 is history, relationship to one's past and the sense of continuity of legacy. For instance, every church you go to had somebody who went to that church that started that church years ago. And you're getting a chance to stand on the shoulders of that in something as simple as going to church. And then future. So that's like looking out into the future. What do we think about what's happening? How is it going to change our lives? And then death. Awareness and acceptance of mortality and your limited existence. Well, I had to disengage the auto drive because I've got myself at a construction site. So if this takes too long, I'll have Marla speed it up and I'm going to re-engage the FSD. We are almost to the boat dock, guys. Moment of truth. Oh gosh, we got buses going through here. Marla can show you this. This full self-driving didn't stop where she was holding the sign, so she had to move. And I kind of gave her one of those smiles like, I'm sorry. We'll give her a wave before we pull off here. This is hard, cold work, folks. Okay, now we're back on full self-driving. Hopefully Marla got anything cut out there for the minutes we were sitting there. So if you think about these permanent domains of human concern, this idea that if with 13 of them, if you're trying to address all of them individually, you're going to have a hard time. But if you do things like, like as an example, church on Sunday fulfills spiritual stuff for me, fulfills community. I spend time with my family there. I help with setup and tear down, so it helps with my body and staying in good shape. And when you think through the different activities you do in life and how they might meet multiple concerns, okay, wait a second, here we go. I'm going to do the thing I did yesterday right at the same spot. So we're pulling up into these parking spots. So I'm ending trip and now navigating home without touching anything. There it goes. Oh, it turned me right around today. Sorry guys, we didn't get sunk. So, well, I'll give you one other permanent domain of human concern, or this idea of meeting multiple objectives in life. One, by doing more than one thing at a time. Think about me doing the tilt. I had a concern that I wanted accountability to make sure I was digging in, going back and reviewing notes from past conferences like this Permanent Domains of Human Concern by Fernando Flores, and doing the tilt created an outlet that helps me be more effective at making sure I focus on my learning every week, because I know I want to release some things I learned today to all of you. So I'm both taking care of like some business concerns, plus some concern for community, because oftentimes I'll think of these things in my learning and I'll talk to 2 or 3 people in a day that I can share them with, but maybe I can get them a little wider and be a little more valuable. So I'm really hopeful that you guys can look at your day and what you're doing with how you're addressing your permanent domains of human concern. And you might be doing things now that would address multiple domains of concern for you, but you don't know it yet because you haven't looked at it on this overlay. You might look at your gym and realize, oh my gosh, I could go to a gym that's closer to my home and meet other people in my community. So I'm handling a bigger social component along with going to the gym. So you can look at work and say, what I've never done is brought my spouse to work events, and yet that might be another good community for me and my spouse to have dinners and stuff in, because maybe now your kids have moved out of the house and now you can be a little more free. And so you can look at the permanent domains of human concern, choose what outcome you want in each, and then begin to look at your already existing activities on your calendar to say, what of those could be combined to be more efficient, to assemble what I say is going to be a good life using these permanent domains of human concern. Now, I will tell you, I don't think I have them all handled. But what I realized years ago, I was talking to my buddy, Eric Davis, and talking about Navy SEALs, and they're not the best at most things they do. If you win, they're real strong, but a CrossFit athlete will beat them at the CrossFit games. They're good runners, but a marathon runner would beat them. But what they are in a lot of these areas is they're above average in so many areas it looks superhuman. And I think that's the secret to having an amazing life. You see, in all those areas of the permanent domains of human concern, I don't need them to be 10s. I don't need being a 10 in any area is super expensive, takes a ton of time. Think about it, if you want to be in fitness magazine level health, it's a ton of work, but you can be in pretty good shape. But if you're in pretty good shape and you have a pretty good marriage and you got pretty good kids and you got, say on a scale 1 to 10, all of those are 7s, it starts to look pretty magical to the people that are watching. And so I would also encourage you to look more about getting yourself better than average in every area. Handle that first before you try to max out on any one of these attributes. So with that, I hope today was helpful for you, going to help you tilt in to your day, get us away from the short attention span stuff, start getting into some longer form content, and having it build out the life that you want, and being more responsible, drawing more under your stewardship, driving what you want out of a good life, not what some magazine says, by building up an aim for every one of your domains, permanent domains of human concern. All right, I hope you guys enjoy that. Read that white paper, Permanent Domains of Human Concern. You'll have to chew on it a little bit. It is not an easy read, but it is a pretty easy way to live. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.